Hello everyone, welcome to Prince Chichibu Memorial Stadium in Tokyo. It is the Sunwolves at home taking on the Queensland Reds. The first game on a massive Super Saturday in Super Rugby. It's the final game of the season at this venue for the Sunwolves, so they're desperate to give their loyal fans something to celebrate. It's a first visit to Tokyo for the Reds, and a win will keep them in touch with the leaders in the Aussie Conference. So plenty to play for, and we've got a good day for it as well. Weather-wise, no sign of any rain. 25 degrees at the moment, and local time is midday, so an early start for the fans and the players. I'm Greg Clark, and calling the action with me today, Richard Freeman sideline, and alongside me, World Cup winning coach Jake White. What do you make of this Queensland Reds forward pack?
Yeah, listen, I think it's going to be a tough game. If you look at the Queensland Reds, as you quite rightly say, James Slipper comes back this weekend to captain the side, and his partner in prop is Tupou, who obviously all know is the Tongan Thor. I think also what's going to be interesting is the second row. We mustn't forget Kane Douglas playing in his 100th game. He's partnered by Rodda. And the back row, George Smith comes back to Japan to make another welcoming appearance, and he's partnered by Korchek and Scott Young.
Yeah, Ben Lucas, who spent a couple of seasons up here with Toyota as the scrum half, with John Lance at fly half. Midfield, Samu Karevi's played every minute of the 9 games the Reds have played so far this season, scoring 3 tries, and a very youthful back three. Hamish Stewart, his second start, and on the left wing, Jordan Pataya, 18 years old.
Mixture of experience and youth, a lot of youth, in fact, on that Reds bench, because Hupert is only 19 years of age, Hocking's 19 years of age, and Wright 20 years of age. Now the Sunwolves dressing room, gee, a lot of pressure on them today. They're desperate for a win. Yeah,
they've got to win. I think that they didn't, they haven't won a game this year. Last year they beat the Blues, and I think a lot is expected from this team. They start the front row with Miller and Asahara, and we don't forget Horry, who's played Super Rugby and understands the pressure of Super Rugby. As I mentioned, the lock pairing, South African pairing of Hutting and Van der Walt, and they'll be tested today. And then we've got Michael Leach coming back from injury, Himeno from Toyota the Blitz, and he's partnered by Ed Quirk on the flank.
Yeah, Yutaka Nagare returns at scrum half to lead the side alongside Hayden Parker, who'll be playing for Kobe Steel next season. Very consistent midfield with Michael Little and Timothy Lafayette. And in the back three, there's one change, Samisi Masarewa coming in at fullback, and there's power and speed on the wings in Tongan Godzilla Salmaki and Kenki Fukuoka.
On the bench, South African Henkes van Fake gets an opportunity in jersey 18. Fumiaki Tanaka, 61st appearance if he gets on today. And Jason Emery is back as well, the former Hurricane and also Highlanders player. So the Reds, third on the Australian Conference, 4 from 9, coming off a bye. And their win a fortnight ago over the Lions was a welcome return to the winner's circle. And a special moment for this man wearing jersey number 5, Kane Douglas, a 28-year-old, his 100th game of Super Rugby.
Yeah, and he's been a good stalwart for Australian rugby. Let's not forget he's played for the Waratahs, and now he's playing for the Reds. I just remember when we coached at the Brumbies, always a really talented player, always difficult to play against, and I'm sure that the Queensland Reds fans will be really proud of his 100th game.
The Reds, they won 4 of their first 5, but then they went downhill, losing 4 straight. Win today will give them their first back-to-back victory since week 4 and 5. Their last start win over the Lions was their best effort so far, scoring the most points, 27, and the most tries, 4 in a game this season. So the Sunwolves getting set to make their way out in front of a bumper crowd here. Like the Reds, they also had a bye last week, a chance to regroup and recharge. And here is the welcome for Yutaka Nagare and the Sunwolves from Japan. They haven't been at home for 3 weeks. They're desperate to break their drought in Tokyo in what is their final game here. The remaining home games are in Hong Kong and Singapore. Still looking for their first win over Aussie opposition. They're none from 8 so far, but they're optimistic about that changing today. Coach Jamie Joseph has made 4 changes in the run-on team, 2 in the pack and 2 in the backs. Just the one Aussie, Ed Quirk, no Sam Wykes, 4 Kiwis, 3 South African-born players as well. The Sunwolves, Kazuki Himeno, star of the future, if not already a star. 9th appearance today, but he plays for your Toyota club. You're coaching.
Yeah, he does. And, you talk about the Reds being a relatively young team, Greg. He's a really young guy. Last year he was the rookie at Toyota the Blitz. He became the captain. And, I mean, he's had a phenomenal year. He's not only gone on from being captain, he's now in the national setup and obviously playing week in and week out for the Sunwolves.
The referee today is Egon Seconds from South Africa. Only his 6th game of Super Rugby. For the Reds, well, life on the road has been tough. They've won just 2 of their past 21 away from Brisbane, so that trend needs to be addressed. Starting today, they have 3 changes in the run-on team, 2 in the pack and 1 in the back. Ed Quirk, former Red, 39 appearances for Queensland, and he is the most capped in the entire Sunwolves squad. Ed Quirk wearing number 7 today for the Sunwolves, and it's his first start since week 6. So good weather, early start to the day for the fans and the players, and we are set for kickoff on what is a massive day of Super Rugby around the conferences. Good safe take early on for the Reds, and Lucas, and that's charged down immediately, and then it's been cleaned up over there by Adam Korchek for Queensland. Paying Arabosa, buying a little bit of time. And now, Ben Lucas will try and get this box kick away, and once again, it's not a great kick, and now the penalty goes to the Sunwolves as we go sideline to Rich Freeman.
Yeah, great start for the Sunwolves today. As you say, perfect conditions down here. There's a slight breeze blowing from right to left that shouldn't affect the kickers. The pitch is in ideal condition, so a day where both sides should be looking to run this ball.
Ben Lucas unable to get that box kick away. The exit was not good.
Yeah, I think, you know, again, there's obviously a reason for that. I think that having Hutting charge down with his height, it's obviously difficult for Ben Lucas to get the kick away. But, you know, I think that let's not get away from the fact that both teams need a good start, Greg. I think if you look at the competition as a whole, both teams have been really competitive and let the second half get away from them. So I've no doubt that's why I think the Sunwolves decided to go for poles straight up, try and get the 3 points and get some score on the board.
And Hayden Parker kicking around 90%, and that is the best percentage in Super Rugby going into week 13. Ex-Highlanders playing for Kobe Steel now. A hush falls over Prince Chichibu Stadium. Parker with the first attempt. Strikes it well. Never looked like missing from the moment it left the tee. So what a start. Sunwolves of Japan leading the Queensland Reds by 3 points to 0. That'll give them plenty of confidence, Rich.
Absolutely, very good start for the Sunwolves. A great kick again from Hayden Parker. Good solid left boot he's got, and he'll be playing alongside a man at Kobe next season with a pretty good left boot as well in Dan Carter.
So Lance kicks off for Queensland. Taken by Kenki Fukuoka. Big tackle from Isaac Rodder for the Reds. Now they'll look to exit. And Parker drops it onto the left foot. And that is not out. Taken by young Hamish Stewart. Started at 10 last start against the Lions. Scott Young. Lucas goes to the short side and floating pass over to Karevi. He floated to the touchline and good defence. And over the chalk he goes.
Yeah, it was interesting there, Greg, because, you know, both teams are struggling to get out of their half. I was surprised that Hayden Parker didn't kick the ball out. I thought, you know, again, getting to the line, getting some structure probably be a bit better. But kicking the ball down the throat of the player and letting them counter-attack has obviously put pressure on them in their own half.
Line out. Shot up. Aurier. Ex-Melbourne Rebel. 19 caps for Melbourne. Finds the target. Leaping high was Vimpy Thunderbolt. Parker finds a runner in midfield. Agade. High ball from Parker. It's on the ground. Sits up for Little. Sunwolves have it. And it's a turnover. George Smith might have been in there. Karevi. Good tackle from Miller. Now Lance. Oh, and there's another one that doesn't go to plan. Another kick from the Reds. And knocked on. So good early pressure here from the Sunwolves. They look to be fired up.
Well, they look to be fired up, but I think obviously they're putting a lot of pressure on 9 and 10. I mean, it's 2 charge down kicks off the 9 and 10. After a bye week, it's probably a little bit rusty. And I think, as you say, I think that the reality is that the Sunwolves look, they're fired up and they want to win this game.
And Jake, just how much does this early start have an effect on players? Because obviously the Sunwolves are used to it playing double-headers in the top league. Probably the Reds more used to sort of an afternoon or evening kickoff.
Yeah, look, I think that the start is so important because, as I said earlier, that both teams have had the tendency to play really well for about 50 minutes and then let things go in the last 30 minutes. So, you know, I'm sure both coaches would have spoken and said, look, let's get a good start, let's get some points and make sure we can finish the game.
Reds have an advantage. Looking at those weights. Flick pass out the back from Lafayette to Little, his centre partner. Penalty, and this one is very kickable again.
Yeah,
Playing the ball on the ground.
I'm sure they'll go for poles here again, take the 3 points. It's the second time they've been in the half, and then, you know, to walk away with 6 points is obviously a great return. I think it was quite interesting there, Rich, watching you know, Tony Brown. There looks like a bit of Tony Brown magic in that back line with a no-look pass through out the back.
Absolutely. I mean, one of the things the Sunwolves do try to do is create chaos, is what Michael Leach said yesterday. And obviously having a coach like Tony Brown with all his inventive back play is one way to sort of cause panic in an opposition backline defence.
Yeah, that was really interesting as well, because looking back, when you say that chaos is obviously important for the Sunwolves, it was interesting to see that the Reds did a split kickoff and allowed the Sunwolves to be sort of dispersed, which in some ways helps the Sunwolves, because the more dispersed they are and the more unstructured it is and more chaotic it is, the more comfortable they are.
Sunwolves really need some first half points because they've scored just 11 points in total in their last 3 games. So they don't finish too strongly. There's another great opportunity for Hayden Parker. Now once again, the crowd started cheering once it left the tee. It's over, so it's 6 points to 0. Sunwolves.
You said it before, Clarky, that he's got the best kicking record in the competition so far, and he's just continued that trend.
Played up here a couple of years ago with Panasonic, and if I can recall, I think he hit 28 from 28 whilst he was kicking up here.
He's a sharpshooter. Another restart for Queensland. Lance. Big tackle. Coming in over the top was Angus Scott Young. And Little. Almost through. Oh, and then losing it. Here's the counter. Dangunu. Tupou. And the ball was stripped away. The whistle goes.
Yeah, again,
the knock on against the Sunwolves.
Well, it's so interesting again. I mean, I just thought split kick-off, a bit of chaos, and then everything worked other than the fact that he held on to the ball. I think if he held on to the ball, there was some opportunity for the Sunwolves to open them up again.
Nice and square. Elbows up, please.
Reds have been good at the set piece. 53% of their tries start from the line out. 30% scored through rolling balls. They have a good field position here. They go to the short side, and it is a good run by Scott Young. Lance goes into scrum half, gets it out to Rodder, and he got through the tackle of Parker. 7 or 8 metres out. Queensland. Advantage is being played for them now. And George Smith over the top, and it's been picked up. Slipper. They can't make anything of that, so they'll come back for the penalty.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I mean, both teams are allowing teams back in the game. I mean, both times now they've had a chance to get out of their half, and just like the Reds did in the first couple of minutes, the Sunwolves have done exactly the same. Coughed the ball up, and then obviously gave the ball back in a point-scoring opportunity.
Lucas punches it in to touch. Line out 5 metres out.
Well, I think you can expect a maul here, as you quite rightly said before the game. That's one of their strengths, and I wouldn't be surprised at what they'll do.
Paenga-Ramosa has it trapped at the back. The Reds looking to use their weight advantage up front. 5 metres out. Being told to use it. Hermosa. They're still edging forward. They have to use it. And he's over the line, and it is a try. Hermosa.
Yeah, well, you called it before the game, Clarkie. You said that one of the things they are strong at, the Reds, is their rolling maul. They've scored a lot of tries from rolling mauls and from line-out attack. So, again, you know, nothing's changed. I think that the Sunwolves will be really disappointed in that they would have expected that and didn't stop it. In fact, they came really close because the ref did say at a point there, use it 9, and all credit to Ben Lucas. He kept the ball in and obviously got the feeling that they'd get over the line. So, 5 points.
Kick to come for the lead. Third try this season for Hermosa. Brandon Hermosa, tipped as a possible Wallaby debutant this year. And John O'Lance, 7 or 8 metres in from the far touch, kicking around 73%. Back in the team after missing the last game against the Lions. And this one. Yeah, the radar is working for Jono as well. So the Reds have the lead, 7 points to 6.
Yeah, that's disappointing. I must say that you know, they had a chance, the Sunwolves, to get out of their half. They've put themselves under pressure and they're now back on the halfway line, minus 7 points.
Parker kicking off. Ngunu. Lucas. George Smith back at Chichibu Stadium. Wobbly old kick there from John O'Lance, but it finds touch on the far side, but he was certainly hoping for more distance than that. As we take a look at the Reds coaching box, and Brad Thorne and Paul Carrozza. Brad Thorne had 2 seasons with the Senix Blues in Fukuoka. Talking to him this week, and said, why haven't you got tattoos for all of the premierships, all of the titles you've won? He said his body would be covered in ink.
And probably rightly so. And he wouldn't be allowed into the onsen.
Shot to Horrier, has it at the back. Now he releases. Hermosa in there. The referee saying, why didn't you take it? Hatting. Advantage being played here for the Sunwolves, and Little gives it to Masarewa, and now Fukuoka. Offside is the call. Well, the Reds had a golden opportunity to pick the ball up. They were entitled to. The referee encouraged it. But they didn't take that opportunity, and now they've given away a penalty. And this one is pretty much in front again for Hayden Parker.
Yeah, it seems to be the same old, same old. If you look at the first couple of minutes and you just come back without having watched the whole game, you would see exactly the same trend, Clarkie. I think yeah, kick-off, failed to exit poorly, turn the ball over, and then give away a penalty. So again, you know, I think it's been the trend for both teams this year throughout the competition, and hopefully, you know, that these teams will learn from the next kick-off. What you don't want to see is the kick-off coming back to the Sunwolves and them turning the ball over and giving another chance to the Reds. I must say, it's quite strange talking about the Reds and the Sunwolves. When you look down on the field, you see the Reds are actually playing in white and the Sunwolves are playing in red.
So Parker. .25 back. Down the middle it goes again. Well, the Reds are going to have to be very careful about giving away these penalties anywhere in Parker's range, because Wow, he's a sharpshooter, isn't he?
Yeah, and it's not even though the difficult kicks. I mean, they give him penalties right in front or in the 22, just outside the 22. So, I mean, it's not even though they're putting him under pressure. Anyway, let's have a look and see. I think let's see whether the Sunwolves can exit here and get it back into the Reds' half.
Lafayette bangs it down to George Smith. In fact, it's going to be Stewart that cleans up in the end. Gives it now to George. A little bit of room to move. Takes it into contact. Lucas. Lance out the back. Stewart just slipping there. Right up. The try scorer. Inga Ramosa. And Lucas to Tupo. Got through Leach. Miller is over the top of him. Leach comes in to try and disrupt things, but it's there for Smith, and he gets it to Scott Young. Stewart into first receiver. Jono Lance. Masarewa, former Western Force player. Calling the mark. Masarewa replacing the injured Will Tupo, who has a hamstring problem. So Stewart. Cross now to Fairway Sotia. Try to run over the top of Horrier and Himeno. Been a busy start for young Angus Scott Young in the 8 jersey. Remember, there's no Caleb Timu or Scott Higginbotham available for the Reds. Lance. This one's going to roll into the in-goal. Jordan Pataya chasing, but no real problem there for Parker.
Yeah, it's been interesting to see that the Sun was keeping the ball infield and allowing the Reds to actually play from their own half. I think, again, it's a bit of cat and mouse here. I think both teams are hoping that the teams that try and counter their half are going to make mistakes and obviously turn the ball over.
"70 minutes gone, and it's the Sunwolves leading the Queensland Reds 9-7. Every Australian team that has visited this ground in Tokyo has come away with the points. Can the Reds follow suit? Sunwolves desperate to break their drought in 2018, especially seeing this is their last game in Tokyo. Played 2 others in Hong Kong and Singapore. Here's a kick downtown, overcooked, it's out on the full.
I suppose that's exactly what Ben Lucas wanted. I suppose he wanted them to make sure they make another mistake, and now they've got a line-out, attacking line-out in the Sunwolves half. Again, probably a maul, and get a penalty and get back into the Sunwolves 22.
I think that look from Tony Brown said it all, didn't it? But that was an unforced error from Masarewa there.
Good line-out win for the Reds, and Lucas gives it to Lance, and Gungunu was on the inside. They read it pretty well, though, the Sunwolves. Quick hands from Douglas out to Fairway Sotia. Parker was right on top of him. Douglas, the Centurion, 100th game of Super Rugby. Lance. Scott Young. Himeno went low. And Lance out the back. Stewart fires a long one over to Pataya. Beat one. Can't get away from Little. Tupo. Good, strong run. Taken, though, by Kenki Fukuoka. Now it's Isaac Rodder. Well, it's a high tackle by the Sunwolves, so advantage for the Reds as Smith goes to ground. There's the penalty.
Yeah, it's really interesting to watch that set of rucks, Clocky. A couple of obviously 7, 8, 9 phases in a row, but not once was the ball quick. Either that the Reds players aren't cleaning away properly, or that the Sunwolves are disrupting the breakdown. So I think, again, one area to work on would make sure that you maybe put one extra number in as a Reds player and make sure you get quicker ball.
And Reds, the Sunwolves, I'll be disappointed with that penalty because they are the most disciplined team in Super Rugby, conceding the fewest penalties in 2018.
Yeah, they will be, and also disappointed because they have been defending very well so far. I mean, the number of times the Reds have basically looked like they're kicking because they haven't found a way through this Sunwolves defence, which is disciplined today.
Okay, well, Haenga Amosa has it at the back. He's already scored 1 try from this situation. It's still moving towards the try line. The Reds with a distinct weight advantage up front. Being told to use it though, and the line opens up for Ben Lucas. It was easy in the end. Try time, Queensland Reds. And Lucas has got his first for the season for the Reds, and his 9th in his career.
Yeah, well, Benny will be enjoying that. The hole opened up for him, and I must say that I really enjoyed the way Egan Seconds reffed that. I thought the way that he spoke and the clarity that he had, you got to use it, you got to use it. You know, the last time out, when they were in the same position on the other side of the field, the Reds decided to keep the ball in and get a pushover try. This time, Lucas took the ball and broke away, and I thought, again, fantastic refereeing by Egan Seconds.
Yeah, we were just saying how disciplined the Sunwolves defence was as well. Breakdown in communication there, obviously. Kenki Fukuoka looking to go wide, for the pass to go wide. Hayden Parker also just caught in 2 minds, and no one else back there sweeping at the back of the maul and allowing Ben Lucas a pretty soft try in the end.
Yeah, well, I think for me the most important thing that I've picked up in the last couple of minutes is that if the Sunwolves continue to make mistakes and give the Reds an opportunity to maul in their own half, that's going to lead to points. I mean, 2 tries that come identical situations, so again, that discipline's got to sharpen up and make sure that they play in the Reds half.
Lance. And this one will hold its line again, so it is 14 points to 9. Reds over the Sunwolves, and Ben Lucas, the try scorer. You had him at Toyota here in Japan, you had him at Montpellier in France, and you like him as an all-round team man.
Yeah, I must say that my experiences with him at Montpellier especially was unbelievable, Clocky. He put his body on the line. You know, he basically, I think, saved Montpellier from going down into the 2nd division, because every week he fronted up whether he was asked to play 9, 10, 15, 12. You know, he just got taped up, bandaged, did whatever he had to do, but he was ready for the weekend. So, yeah, I mean, I'm a real fan of Ben Lucas.
Bangunu got away from 1. Trapped inside the 22. Now it's George Smith. Oh, and again it was pretty well read by Big Round13, but cleaned up. Oh, and a loose carry from the Tongan for Tupou.
Yeah, it's a comedy of errors for me. You know, I think Benny Lucas had a chance to get rid of it. I'm not sure that Round13 was on sides there. I think Egan Seconds there, as I just praised him for his handling of the maul. I'm not sure whether he allowed Round13 to be on the side of the ruck there, which obviously put pressure on Ben Lucas, and that pressure was then transferred through the backs.
The advantage of having a man also that's 2 meters tall. Don't often see that in a team from Japan.
Has played for the Bulls and the Lions in Super Rugby before. South African-born Round13, playing for Kobe Steel. But gee, there could have been something on out wide if Tupou could have offloaded rather than coughing it up.
Well, I got a bit tongue-tied. I said it put pressure on the backs, and I've just looked and seen there was a tight head prop running in the back line there. So, yeah, I mean, I think if he'd moved the ball, it was on. I think he probably held on a little bit long.
He's pretty used to running in the midfield.
And not passing.
23.5 minutes gone, first half in Tokyo.
We spoke before, there's an interesting contest. I remember listening to Ed Quirk's comments during the week, who was saying that the Japanese love scrumming, they love the front row play, and again, I'm sure they'll be tested here by Slipper and Tupou.
Well, it's Miller and Asahara, the 2 props. Asahara 9 tests for Japan. Shot the Horio, the hooker, has played 55 tests. Craig Miller has signed for Panasonic, coached by Robbie Deans. He's played every game for the Sunwolves since moving to Japan, New Zealand born. Short side they go. Fukuoka. Oh, good tackle from Scott Young in the end, and pick and go here by the Sunwolves. 5 out. Nagade to Haya. Oh, poor pass. What a wasted opportunity. And Fairway Sortia claims it, lays it back. Pick and go here from George Smith now.
No more hands.
Lucas back in the pocket is John O'Lance, and he puts it into touch. Well, Shota Horia would like to have that pass again, wouldn't he?
Yeah, I just, as I said, I think it was on there. I think they've just either, if he wasn't sure, just put his head down and carry. I think again, if they can just build some pressure in the 22 of the Reds, there's points to be had.
Reds 14, Sunwolves 9. Line out on halfway. Hodia finds the target at the front. He went to Hemino. Now it's Quirk and Parker. Azarewa was the decoy runner. Good offload at the end, Lafayette. And now over on the far side, it is Salmaki. He's the Tongan Godzilla. Will he run into the Tongan 4 later on? Let's hope so. You'll feel it around the world if it happens. Somehow it ends up in Salmaki's hands again. I think. Wrapped up all in all. Douglas. Little. Away from Smith. Taken by Korchek, but Miller was there to pick and go. Oh, and there's another penalty.
I really enjoyed that passage of play. I think that the Sunwolves, by keeping the ball, were always going to put the Reds under pressure. I think, as I said early on in the broadcast, that that's what they've got to do. Is got to make sure that they back themselves, keep the ball, and either one or two things will happen. They'll get a penalty or they'll get a line break, and they can hopefully finish off for a try.
Well, this is bread and butter stuff for Parker, isn't it, Rich? Right in front again.
Yeah, I don't want to say yes just in case you get the old commentator's curse, but yeah, he has been kicking well this year. He's running the back line as well. He's obviously had a lot of experience playing Super Rugby, a lot of experience playing that Tony Brown style of rugby as well, because obviously Tony Brown has had an influence at Panasonic Wild Knights and then with Otago and with the Highlanders. So obviously a fly half who understands what his coach really does want out of his backs.
Reds have scored the 2 tries if you've just joined us. Brandon Pangaramosa and Ben Lucas getting the 5-pointers, both converted. Parker 3 from 3 shots at goal so far. Well, he doesn't miss them from there.
And at 14-12, I think that the Reds need to appreciate the fact that the closer this game goes and the longer this game goes and the closer the Reds stay in, the Sunwolves stay in contact with the Reds, the crowd will get involved, and then obviously it'll be a tough afternoon for the Reds.
Speaking of the crowd, is this the best they've had all year, Richard?
It's getting on there. It's pretty good. A lot of people in red here with the freebie scrum caps. I'm not sure if I want to be wearing vinyl on a day like today, but yeah, it's a good crowd.
That's not out. Smith takes it. There's a legion of fans in Japan. George Smith, happy to see him back. He won't be coming back for Suntory next year. He's making the most of it against the Sunwolves today. Lucas. Lance tries a short kick this time. Coming forward is Masarewa. Collision there with Karevi. They go to the short side through Himino. He offloads to Little, and Little is pulled down about 12 inside Reds territory. Miller, oh, and a big tackle from the Tongan forward. Tupou came in and he lined up Vimpy Thunderbolt. Short side they go. Masarewa is down in back play. They're signaling to the sideline that he needs attention. Hatting goes to ground. Nagade to the short side. Himino, well, he was just walking, so he offloads to Little. Nothing happening there. He has to take the tackle of Karevi. Hatting. Oh, and straight through goes Miller. Miller, he's got support. Hatting for the line. Oh, I think he got the most unlikely line breaker in Craig Miller.
It's wonderful to see a prop running that line. I think people thought he was going to go out the back and hit the player short. And as I said, continually, I think it's been fantastic to watch. When the Sunwolves keep the ball, they're really a pleasure to watch. I see Ben Lucas gone over to the referee. I think he's asked to see whether there's double movement. I'm not sure whether or not.
So here's the Barnes storming. Hutting, well, he's allowed to play the ball immediately, and I think he did that.
Yeah, in fact, when I heard him speak now, I think he also wants to see if it was a forward pass to Moore.
I'm happy with the grounding. You have to check the grounding. Just the last pass.
Yep.
All looks pretty good from that angle.
Yeah, I think he just said no. Look, it's quite interesting. He said he's happy with the grounding. He wants to see whether the pass that was made to Moore that put him through the hole was forward.
Yeah.
So they want to see the second last pass. The TMO is Minoru Fuji.
Yeah.
There's no way that Parker's going to be able to sneak a quick conversion here. He's got officials surrounding him.
Thank you.
Because once the conversion is taken, of course, the TMO is taken out of the equation.
Yeah, I think obviously they'll be hoping now that the replay shows that pass was good. I think that the rugby was so good, it probably deserves a try.
And especially coming a pass like that coming from a lock, it deserves it as well, doesn't it? Surely. I mean, great hands from Hatting, and then also the fitness to get, you know, support Miller and hopefully score this try for the Sunwolves.
Yeah, I'm happy with the grounding there, Fuji.
I'm happy with grounding, so we will check the forward pass yet.
Yes,
yep.
yes.
But it's not this pass that the referee wants to check. There's obviously
The
no
one
problem with
that
that.
Yeah, I think he wants to see the one that put Moore through the hole.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I asked to the broadcast.
Okay.
And as I said, Clocky, I think that probably what bamboozled the Reds is they wouldn't expect the prop to be running that short line and going through a hole.
No way. We'll make the right decision.
Yeah.
Just whilst that decision is going on, news from the bench as well that Massarera has come off and is been replaced by Jason Emery.
Yeah, that one.
So here we go here. Is this forward? Well, probably only a half a metre.
Yeah, well, if you're a Red supporter, you'd say that's definitely a forward pass. I suppose if you're a Sunwolves supporter, you'd be saying, look, you know, he's passing the ball with his hands backwards. But I think it's probably, to be fair, it probably looks a bit forward. It looks as though because his body action's running sideways, it looks like he's throwing the ball forward.
In the background, you can hear Hayden Parker trying to convince the referee that it was backwards
we'll
out
wait
of his
for the
hands.
decision, boys. We'll wait for the decision.
I have a decision.
I think it's forward.
Yeah, not create a forward pass, so you may able to try.
Thank you. Try.
It is a try to the Sunwolves. Well, they might argue about that one for a while.
You talk about commentators, Kurt Stretch. I thought, you know, you're scared to give it. I thought it was a forward pass, and I suppose that's probably why they gave the try.
Right, when a 2-metre South African claims a try, I'm going to give it to him every time.
Right, Hatting scoring the try for the Sunwolves, first for the season. Third in Super Rugby now. And there's the extra two coming from Parker. So it is the Sunwolves back in front, 19 points to 14.
Yeah, Jake, as you said, though, the key is, isn't it, with the Sunwolves, it is just being patient and keeping hold of that ball and putting the phases together, which is causing the problems for the Reds' defence.
Well, I think that's what all top league teams try and do here in this competition is hold on to the ball. I think they are very good at it as a league, and I think, again, the Sunwolves just need to be patient.
Well, Pataya got his hands to it, just couldn't control it for the Reds, so Fukuoka comes away with it. Kenki Fukuoka, 25 tests on the right wing. Inside ball, and then Little decides, no, I'll continue to work to the outside. Nagado, Thunderbolt. Gade over the top, and Stewart takes it. Played by Quirk and also Horrier. Angus Scott Young. Relieving penalty here for the Queensland Reds.
Egan Seconds, I think, is having a fantastic game, and I think that as a coach, when you watch him referee the way he is now, you get really happy because he's been consistent. What he's doing is looking at the same picture. It doesn't matter which jersey it is, he's blowing the penalty. And I think, again, as a coach, that's all you want. You want to make sure that he's consistent. He continues to blow what he sees.
He's also communicating very well, which doesn't happen a lot of times in the top league games here, where the referees tend to just blow first and talk second. But he's talking well, and the players are absolutely aware of what's going on the whole time.
That is a fantastic touch finder by John O'Lance. And this is danger time for the Sunwolves now, because the Reds will back their rolling maul here.
100%. I think, again, that's just the same old, same old. Be a rolling maul.
Good take at the back, and it goes down to Smith, and he just pops it now to Korchek. Good defence, though, but it's great field position, but it's been intercepted! And Fukuoka is claimed by his opposite number, Ngunu. So, a bit of a wasted opportunity, but now the steal is good. And it's there now for Kayanga Amosa. But the referee decides no, it was a knock-on.
See, I've got to say, it's exciting to watch. I mean, it looks like the one side's about to score, and then there's a turnover, and then it looks like the Sunwolves are on their way to go and score, and a bit of basketball going on there, Clarkie.
Kenku Fukuoka, man from Panasonic, 25 tests.
He was part of the Japan Sevens team at the Rio Olympics as well, that finished 4th, losing to South Africa in that bronze medal playoff game.
I just got to look back at that driving maul. One wonders, I know you want a bit of variation, you want to make sure that you're asking questions of the defence, but the rolling maul's been so good for the Reds. You wonder why they went away from not just keeping the ball in there and putting the Sunwolves under pressure. I know the move nearly worked with George Smith coming around the blind side, but you know, again, I think if you've got the Sunwolves panicking about the maul and you're getting gain from mauling against them, one wonders why you don't, when you get into that situation, put them under pressure.
Well, they'd like to have their time over again. Doesn't happen in rugby. And George Smith, 111 tests, and it's his 160th game of Super Rugby today, so he's 6th equal on the all-time list in Super Rugby caps, alongside Martin Nonu.
Phenomenal player. Clarkie, we're lucky enough to coach him at the Brumbies. You know, again, won the Players Player of the Year, consecutive years for many years in a row. At one stage, it's called the Robinson Trophy. I think the Brumbies thought it might change the name and just call it the George Smith Trophy, because he had it at his house more often than anyone else. Comments
today from Jake White, the most capped Springboks coach. Montpellier 2014 to 2017, currently with Toyota in Japan. 53 Super Rugby games with the Brumbies, including that final in 2013 in Hamilton. Sharks in 2014, reaching the playoffs. You've been a busy man.
I have. I've been very lucky. Been very lucky. Very blessed.
Nagane, Raffaelli wants to go to the other side. Barker, and now Emery, former Highlander and Hurricane. Oh, and the bounce is a shocker for the young winger, Pataya. And Nagane, they've got numbers out wide. Hawaii Sortia, the tackle didn't stick on him, and now it's Harting having another run. Little cutting back on the inside. What a ball! Parker! Hayden Parker! And they're on their feet at Prince Chichibu Stadium in Tokyo. That is sensational stuff from the local team.
Fantastic try. I mean, obviously a bit biased. It was wonderful play by Himeno himself, standing up, blocking the tackler off, and then make a well-timed pass to the outside. I mean, if we look here, I mean, obviously a bit unlucky from the Reds' point of view. A lucky bounce. Bounces into the winger's hands. And then a great offload, keeping the ball alive and moving to the other side of the field. I thought this about Himeno, strong on his feet, stays alive, carries the ball, makes a well-timed pass. And obviously it's open for Little to stretch his legs. And then a wonderful inside pass offload to finish off the try.
There were 4 Queenslanders around the ball carrier. Well, they still got the pass away.
Well, that's what makes it so special. I think the reality was it looked like the Queenslanders had cut it off, but that pass from Little was outstanding.
There were a lot of people questioning his inclusion in the Sunwolves when he was first named, because he's playing 2nd Division rugby up here for Mitsubishi Dynaballs. But he has been absolutely outstanding. He's played. This is his 8th game. He's played every minute of the 7 matches he's played. He's scored 2 tries. He's created a few more. And I think a lot of credit also for that try for Kenki Fukuoka, because he knew he was isolated, and instead of just putting the ball down, he looked for the support pass, found his clubmate Nagare, whose long pass then set up the try.
And Parker looks to convert his try. Yeah, it's a good one. So it is 26 points to 14. It's incredible. It's the Sunwolves over the Reds, and gee, there was a little bit of Michael Little's old man in that try, wasn't there? Son of All Black, Walter Little. How many times did we see the flick pass, the offload from Walter in the All Black jersey?
I must say it's going to be difficult for the Reds. They're going to have to make sure they get some points quickly. I think as soon as I mentioned earlier, as soon as the crowd start getting behind the Sunwolves team, it's going to be difficult for the Reds to catch up.
So that's now 2 tries apiece. Lagarde gets the kick away. Comes down to George Smith on halfway. He gives it to Jordan Pataya, this 18-year-old Australian under-20s. He's going to be heading to the upcoming Junior World Cup in France. Oh, big defence. There's been a real momentum shift here in Tokyo, and it is the Sunwolves really giving it everything as they try to break their drought in 2018, try to break their drought against Australian teams. Long way to go, but they're growing in confidence.
I must say, I thought the Sunwolves were very unlucky not to get a penalty there. I thought the play was over the ball. It looked like he's had his hands on the ball and then obviously lost it in contact, went for the knock-on. So, yeah, again, I think probably a bit unlucky. I thought it was a penalty to the Sunwolves.
26 points, the most points they've scored in the first half in Tokyo ever, the Sunwolves.
I think they played really well, Clocky, to be fair. You know, they've held on to the ball. They've looked dangerous when they've had some wide attack options. Their scrums look solid. This line-out's been solid. I think the only area that they've probably been exposed is stopping the rolling more.
You've got to go back a fortnight. Remember, the Reds did not concede a point in the first half against the Lions from South Africa. And they managed to hold on and win that one in Brisbane, the Reds.
Well, it's probably been the same trend for both teams. I think that if you look, you know, even the Sunwolves against the top sides have been competitive probably about 50, 60 minutes and then probably let it run away from them purely because they don't have the depth or the bench or as the other teams do. I was watching the Hurricanes yesterday and watched Geordie Barrett come on for Milner Scudder. And that sums up the depth in the New Zealand side. So you take off Milner Scudder and put on Geordie Barrett, you know what kind of team you have. So Sun was probably not as lucky as the other teams, and that's probably counted against them. So this start and being ahead and making sure that they can continue scoring points is very important.
Ben Lucas puts it in for Queensland. There's a run and then offloads to Karevi. Good tackle from Fukuoka. Pick and go here, Isaac Rodder. Paenga and Mosa. Simple stuff. He's trying to suck the defence in. Now it's Tupou. Held awkwardly, but it's going to come back. Now George Smith. Isaac Rodder. Himeno over the top. And Himeno legally got his hands on the ball, forces the penalty.
Himeno really a good, strong player over the ball, Clock. He plays flank for Toyota Blitz. He's playing number 8 today, and I think, again, the skills that he had as a flanker obviously being used as a number 8. I must say, though, that Egan Seconds, as I said, he's been very lenient at the breakdown. To be fair, he's been really, really consistent. I think there he took a while, but he had to make 100% sure there was a penalty. And I think as a coach and as a player, you need to understand you're not going to get rewarded unless you're really strong on the ball.
Jake, what about the Reds' tactics on that occasion, the pick and go?
Well, I think it's not a bad tactic because I think, again, one of the areas is that I think they can play against the Sunwolves is go through the middle. As I said, the referee's allowing the ball-carrying team to get all the rub of the green, and you've got to be really strong and hard over the ball. So, again, Himeno, as I said, fighting hard there to get that penalty.
Shota Horia. Goes to the front again. Got it. His head quirk. Over halfway. Lagarde with the kick over the top. No real chaser, though. And it's going to beat everybody into touch, so not a bad result.
Well, I think very good result. I think if you look at the trend of the game, it's every team that's tried to get out of their half have made mistakes and allowed the other team to get points. So again, you know, it's the Reds will be hoping to contest this line out, the Sunwolves to hope to contest the Reds line out, maybe get a turnover, and if not, put pressure on Ben Lucas and John O'Lance from exiting.
And Rich, the captain, Yutaka Nagare, playing for Suntory, you'd know this ground pretty well.
Oh, absolutely. You know, he's played this game a lot, and he's obviously come under George Gregan and Freya Duprea quite a bit as a spot coach, so a very talented young player.
Hutton coming through the middle, but Lucas is going to be able to get hold of this eventually. He gives it to John O'Lance, cutting back in field. Oh, and he ran into a solid tackle from Michael Leach, the 53 Test veteran for Japan.
Well, what that's done is put 9 and 10 on the ground, and obviously puts him under pressure from exiting.
So now it's Ben Lucas, Hamish Stewart in the back. Happy to punch it into touch.
They did relatively well there, but as I said, you know, if you look carefully at that clip, you've got John O'Lance and Ben Lucas on the ground from an exit. They go passing back to a relatively inexperienced number 15 to exit. They got away with it, Clarkie, but I think the Sunwolves will be happy the fact they get another attacking opportunity in the half of the Reds.
26-14 at the moment. This stadium will erupt if they can score more points before the break.
What's the front here, the lines up here now. Go! Here by the front. The front here.
Hurry out. This time he goes to the back. Finds Hutton. Nagano and Fukuoka and Raffaelli. Off to Parker. Through their hands it goes. And Little gets it out. Salmaki keeps it alive. Back to Emery. Emery goes to ground. Advantage is being played. They just have to be patient here. But no, they kick across, and Leach picks it up. Did he get it down?
I think he's gone into touch. But I must say, incredible rugby. Incredible rugby. I think, as you mentioned just before the line, it'd be incredible if they see them score, the crowd, and I mean, they came within a hair's breadth of scoring a try there.
Do you want to check the on-field decision is? Try. Oh. Just want to check foot in touch.
Yeah, I think he's out. Without even watching the replay, my gut feeling is that he probably got pushed into touch.
On-field decision is a try. We just want to check if his foot is in touch. If his foot is in touch, we're going to go back for penalty advantage. We're playing for high tackle.
Okay, on-field decision try, checking a foot in touch.
Just remember the post is out of play.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter that he's taken the post.
I saw the grounding. I just wasn't sure if it...
Leach. Oh, just in touch.
Yeah, we're going to go back for the advantage there.
Yeah, I'd be happy to do touch.
For high tackle.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm sure he's in touch. I'm almost sure. By the time he gets the ball down, his body is across the line.
I have a decision.
Yes, Fuji?
Yeah, really on touch, so you may go back to the penalty.
Okay. No try.
Penalty to the Sunwolves, and Parker will look to add another 3, you'd think.
Well, you've got to ask yourself a question why the Sunwolves kicked that ball away. I think if they kept the ball in hand, as I said earlier, and just kept building the pressure, they would have got some... I think they would have scored a try.
Well, you see it a lot, don't you, though? The team with the advantage, and rather than remain patient, they put a speculator up.
Yeah, and I suppose if it had worked, we would be saying fantastic kick, brilliant rugby, well done. But that I suppose it goes both ways. But they didn't score a try, Clarkie. They're going to probably get another 3 points here, and I've got no doubt that the happier change room going into the half-time change room will be the Sunwolves.
So Parker's 6 from 6, 4 penalty goals and 2 conversions.
Rich, what was the stat you said he kicked in the stadium, or he kicked in a game in the top league?
It was 28 from 28.
Hopefully not in a game, more in a season. So Parker looking to put a bit of icing on the cake in this first half, and it's a beauty. It is 7 from 7, and at half-time in Tokyo, it is the Sunwolves, winless in 2018 so far, with that handy lead over the Queensland Reds. The Reds led 14-9 at one stage. But at half-time, 29 points to 14. Okay, let's go to Rich Freeman.
Yeah, Ed, fair to say that's probably the best 40 minutes the Sunwolves have played this season.
Yeah, it's been a good 40. We start pretty slow some games and that, but we're ball out of the gate there. And as you see, like, we're holding the ball, we're getting down the end, and we're coming away with points.
From a personal point of view, playing against the Reds?
Oh, mate, I'm with the Wolves now, and it's always good playing the old team, but yeah, I'm ecstatic with what the boys are putting on, and we just got to back up second 40.
Good luck in the second half, mate.
Awesome, cheers, mate.
So Ed Quirk happy with that first half, and they're 29 points. It's the most points the Sunwolves have ever scored in the first half in Super Rugby. Sunwolves 29, Reds 14. We'll be back in Tokyo shortly.